Yes, it is Crypto Coffee live with Todd Lewis. And indeed, this week we do have Todd Lewis with us. Cheers, my friend.
Howdy. Happy to be back.
You know, I have one of these fancy schmancy coffee cups that you can, one cup of coffee will stay hot for like 2 hours, and it doesn't work. So I'm not. The title of the show is Crypto Coffee with Todd Lewis, Epic Cash Infomercial, but it sure isn't an infomercial about this coffee.
Does it not keep it hot, or does it make it into not coffee? Because if it's the second mode of failure, then we can potentially do something with that.
It's one of those you set it up, and I got it free at a conference. It was a gift, but they're like $100. And you're supposed to set them on this little plate, overnight. And then somehow magically you fill it with coffee, and 2 hours later you can take a drink and it's still hot.
It's a molten salt reactor. Yeah.
It did work for a bit of time. And so I think you only have so many shots at it, where it just goes, but enough about that. So look, we commit to do this Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m.
And here we are.
And it is 8 a.m. It just happens to be 8 a.m. in your time zone now.
It's actually 7 a.m. in my time zone, but close enough.
Oh, it is? Oh, I looked that up yesterday. So we're actually early. We're way early.
Exactly. We are an hour early, yeah.
So that gives us 2 hours to talk. Lord help people if we ever did that. But of course, we do have to begin with you reading my T-shirt.
Holy crap, Larry, is that you? Thing about that T-shirt, man, is all the chicks love it. So
the chicks dig it. It used to be my favorite T-shirt to wear on airplanes, because whenever you would walk back to the restroom or walk back to your seat, it'd just make people smile. So you're in Arizona.
I'm sorry I don't have a great T-shirt for you, but I'm on the road and have limited wardrobe options here.
Okay, so you're in Arizona, and
I am.
And probably the same climate as where you live in Brazil.
Practically identical to my house on the beach. Yeah. No, it's deserty here. It's a little different.
So. It's deserty, man. I'm not a fan. Those of you who live out in Arizona, God bless America. I know the people say the same thing about Florida. They come here because we only have 2 seasons. We have 8 months of August and about 4 months of perfect. And that's about it down here in Florida. So those 8 months of August are very humid for those.
And I was discussing this with your parole officer. Like, I was explaining to him, like, this is why the ankle monitor really is just not such a big deal. Is if you had your druthers, you just never leave your Tampa house,
And I pretty much never do.
Right.
And of course, if people could tell, they would always know I'm not wearing pants. But you just gave away the ankle bracelet. Thanks, Todd. This is great. Well, we might have to have Max pitch in for you more times, like maybe every week. Oh, I love you. Okay, everyone. This is today's going to be a little bit different. I do want to share my screen just to let people know what we're doing and why we're doing it. If you've followed us at all, you know that this is the exercise we're going through. We're comparing 5 assets, and I think Max last week suggested we could add a 6th asset. I don't think we're going to, but we could. He said mobile minutes, because in some areas of the world, they actually exchange mobile minutes like currency. So I don't know if you think that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, it's worth a minute to talk about, which is you can use almost any commodity. Here's a central insight about money that that I think is underappreciated. Money is a subset of commodities, right?
Okay.
Monies are commodities which have been elevated to a commodity function. And so in extremis, we see where people don't have access to good forms of money, we see spontaneously people resorting to less perfect forms of money. And you see this over and over and over, like prisoner of war camps where cigarettes emerge from, right?
Ramen noodles, big.
Sure.
That's nice currency. When I was
and cell minutes make a lot of sense because they have an underlying commodity value, right?
Yeah.
And they're a commodity, and as long as they're transferable, then you absolutely can use it as money.
Yeah.
So, and why do people resort to all this? The reason is that money fundamentally improves the efficiency of the economy, and the better your money, the more efficiency it adds. Which is, of course, what this whole conversation is about when it comes to cryptocurrency, is perfecting money, perfecting people's ability to engage in intermediated trade, monetarily intermediated trade. So I don't know that we should, like do the full audit of cell phone minutes, but I do think it's a fascinating example.
Yeah, I think it's now part of the series because people do use mobile minutes over in Africa and other areas, as I understand it, to exchange their mobile minutes for goods and services. So
right. Well, and one of the big advantages that we have is the political agenda of people pushing political money is very much about crippling and compromising its monetary function in the service of political ends. Right.
Yes.
Because a perfect money would have no political utility at all. And then what's the point of having political power if not to enrich yourself and your friends and reinforce your power base? So that really is the big source of opportunity for cryptocurrencies, is that political money can never pursue the highest levels of monetary performance because their whole agenda is about crippling the money.
That's fascinating. So for that, everyone who may be new to the show, we're comparing Epic, Bitcoin, gold, Federal Reserve notes, and Federal Reserve digital credits. And this is the quest for superior money. So the exercise is, if you could start today, let's say, and identify all of the qualities that would make up superior money that we could all agree on. We've done that. We've gone through, and we have now 18. I was kind of embarrassed that the first pass I didn't choose.
That's more than 18, man, isn't it?
Private by default. Good question. 5.
That's much more than 18.
Hey, I'm a sales rep. Always have been. And so, well, I should say it's 50 then, because I usually round up. So
33.
33. Oh my gosh, we're going to be accused of being Masons now, Okay. So, but last week in your absence, so this is what we do, everyone. Every week, we're going to take a couple of these. And I recommend you to go back, because now I have a series called Crypto Coffee with Todd Lewis that I put each one of these videos in there. So you can just go find that series. I need to put last week's in there, but I'll do that when I put this one in this week. But you can start at the top and just go through our process. And by the time we're done,
it just occurred to me that with Max as being anonymous anyway, he could have just printed out a Todd mask.
Because he just does not have a distinctive voice. You would not be able to tell it was Max at all. And so really you and his voice is fungible. Now I know what that means. So anyway, we have covered scarcity, and this is just an example. If I uncover borderless here, it's a check mark. This is my belief with my current knowledge but Todd has not seen what is underneath all of these. So that's the purpose.
What's the Price is Right game with the paper, and you punch out the paper to get the thing behind it?
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah.
But I only have one computer screen, so that would only work. So you guys get it. We've done that, and these are the ones that we've gone through. At the end of this whole series, I'm going to make this PDF available, and it's going to be both where it's blank for you to use to be able to engage with other people and just have a conversation on the same side of the table about, hey, let's go through this exercise and let's indeed see how Epic stands up against gold or cash or Bitcoin. So I think this is pretty cool. It's educational for me. So we've gone through scarcity. Epic is scarce, Bitcoin scarce, gold scarce, Federal Reserve notes, not so much, and nor are there CBDCs. I'm not going to go through all of these and talk about them. You can go back. But inflation resistant, we talked about that. Fair launch, we talked about that last week, I believe. Trustless and fungible. And then we did quantum future proofed, and we have.
I'm curious why we said gold is not trustless. Was that a Max thing?
Gold is not trustless.
Did you do trustless with me or with Max?
I think I did it with Max.
That doesn't surprise me, because Max and I see eye to eye on almost everything on this table.
Yeah.
And the big point of difference between us is gold.
Interesting. So you would say it's trustless.
I would. It's a straight, and in fact, I think I was discussing this with Max last week. One of the interesting things about gold is the difficulties that you have at smaller scales of gold disappear at larger scales. So when you're talking about a 400-ounce gold bar, the cost to melt it down and recast it to confirm its gold content is negligible.
Okay.
But when you're talking about a 1/10 of an ounce gold coin, it's more difficult. But in modern technology, there are all kinds of ways to verify gold. You can do, they have acoustic measurement. You can measure the speed of sound inside of them. They're pretty cheap meters for doing that. You can do the old, Archimedes trick of measuring the density, but people use tungsten to fake that one. But yeah.
What would you use? Hold on one second. What would you use to verify my gold bling?
Well, first of all, I'll give you $10 for it. So,
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Me give up my bling.
Yeah, like no. in the 1970s, this was a much harder problem, right? Because you could, although I think there was much less fraud in the 70s than there is today in small scale gold. But today we have all kinds of technology. You can measure the electrical resistance, you can measure the speed of sound, and you can measure the density. And
sorry, Monkman, I should have known. I apologize to Monkman. He gets
for leaving the graph up, right?
Yeah. Everyone missed. Do you know how heavy it is to wear 25 pounds of gold? I'm standing pretty straight up. Most people.
I'm guessing that it's around 25 pounds of heavy, but I'm not scientific. But we've given that we have multiple independent things we can measure about the gold nowadays at a cost that's reasonable for a coin shop or whatever.
Okay.
Then I would call gold trustless, because it's just a straightforward scientific question whether something is pure gold or not.
Okay.
So you don't really need to take that on trust. But again, Max and I have rather different attitudes towards gold. He's not anti-gold, but I'm markedly more pro-gold than he is.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I'm now going to share the screen again, and we're going to go back here. And I just want to let people know that FF means future feature. That's down here in the lower left. And when I do distribute this, everyone, you'll note that there's pages 2 pages following it that will have definitions. And again, the exercise is just to be able to give you a tool to be able to not say, hey, Bitcoin Maxi, we're better than you, and poo poo. No, let's just go through it together and we'll see. And guess what? It looks like we're pretty much the same in a few areas, not fungible and scalable and fast. So that's not going to create superior money. Now, I want to stop screen sharing and I want you to think about all of these qualities. And I want you to listen. We're going to listen to a 3-minute video of this very smart man who's over in Davos right now. And he apparently has a boatload of assets that he manages. So he's considered to be an expert. And Yoga posted this in one of our channels, and it just kind of blew me away. Not to give away the end, but I will just tell you, this is why I titled this show Epic Cash Infomercial, because Todd, you'll hear this, and I think the guy is really on to something, but he just hasn't discovered the solution, which kind of sounds a lot like Epic Cash. All right, let's, I'm going to go make sure I share my sound, click on this. And I will tell you, this guy here must be a Bitcoin fanboy, because he just tried to bulldoze this gentleman a couple times, but here we go.
You could call it the broad indexes, but when you look specifically at this point, where do you see more pain? And to the extent that there's upside from here, right, for some stocks or some industries, they are what?
Right. Well, look, if you look at tech, I think tech is pretty fairly valued, but I see a lot more pain because markets...
It's fairly valued, but you see more pain.
Right. Well, because markets typically don't bottom when they're fairly valued, right? Markets tend to overshoot. And when you have a day like we had on Friday with a heavy sell-off, which was a key reversal, which should tell us that, near term we're going to see a rally, but rallying off of a VIX that's at 30, I mean, historically we need to be north of 40, closer to 50 to get a real bottom. And so, I think that until we see some real panic, we're not going to have a real bottom. And, like I say, bear markets don't end at fair value. They tend to overshoot. So,
how do you think about the world of crypto? By the way, I don't know if we can get the camera's not going to see it. The blockchain house is here.
Right.
Every crypto person is in town here in Davos.
Right.
And we've watched it obviously tank. It's not clearly a hedge on inflation, at least thus far.
Right.
But do you see that as the tail? Do you see that as the dog? What's going on there?
I think it's more of a symptom. It's telling you, it's like the canary in the coal mine, right? We're seeing crypto collapse the way it is. I think it's got more downside to it.
More downside?
More downside.
How much more?
Well, when I look at Bitcoin, which the technicals have been better than anything else, when we break, below 30,000 consistently, 8,000 is the ultimate bottom. So I think we've got a lot more room to the downside, especially with the Fed being restrictive. And let's face it, most of these currencies they're not currencies, right? They're junk, right? I mean, the majority of crypto is garbage. So there are going to be survivors, but, and crypto is the future.
There's hundreds of cryptocurrencies.
19,000.
But do you think that Bitcoin is junk? Do you think that ETH is junk? Do you think Solana is junk? How do you...
I think Ethereum, I think Bitcoin will be survivors.
And survivors at one day at 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 in the sort of Cathie Woods world, or something else?
Yeah, it could be, but I don't think we've seen the dominant player in crypto yet. Right? This is like the internet bubble, right? If we were sitting here in the internet bubble, we would be talking about how Yahoo and America Online were the great winners, and everything else. We couldn't tell you if Amazon or Pets.com was going to be the winner, right? But of course, Yahoo, Google, we didn't have Google yet.
Right.
America Online, the dial-up service died. So, we don't know these. I don't think we have had the right prototype yet for crypto. And let me tell you what that's based on, right? The definition of currency is that it's a store of value, it's a medium of exchange, and it's a unit of account. None of these things pass. They don't even pass on one basis.
But if they don't pass now, why would they pass later?
Because technology will come along, and there will be a point where if you can create an ecosystem, then where we can actually use these things for transactional purposes and people feel comfortable, they hold their value.
Right.
Stable coin's an interesting attempt at that, but candidly, if we're going to exchange it at a set exchange rate like a currency board like the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, right, then it's going to get regulated like currency.
Todd Lewis, didn't it sound like that was an infomercial for Epic Cash?
Yeah, I mean I just had an idea listening to that, which was like, go back in time and imagine an AOL Maxi.
Bitcoin is so AOL, man.
Like, we're dominant, we're on top. Our dominance is guaranteed to last infinitely far into the future. Internet technology has been perfected and it has a name, and that name is America Online.
No,
it's the dominant market leader. How could it possibly be dethroned, right? If I have to bet on one company from the internet era, it's AOL.
Hey, I've been holding the AOL since the beginning. When they were mining the L's, I was mining the L's.
Yeah.
Okay, so he said currency has to be three things: store of value, unit of account, and medium of exchange.
Yeah, which are the three core things on our list that we're like talking about the motivation for Epic Cash, right? And this is something that's deeply weird to me about the cryptocurrency conversation, is like almost none of it is about the nature of money.
I mean,
where is the discussion among the other coins about the monetary function and how they are designed to be superior money? And the fact that this is our vision, right, of what Epic Cash is supposed to be.
Yeah, let's take these on. We actually have them: medium exchange, unit of account, and
go down six. Go down six. Store of value.
Store of value. Okay, so let's take them.
Those were the original three, man. Like that. Those are the three classic core factors.
Medium of exchange, unit of account, and store of value. Before we reveal the others,
hang on. Before you reveal the others, in the Zoom chat here, I sent you a link. Can you open that up and screen share it?
Sure, I can. Bear with me. I love you.
I'm a child of the 80s, man. What can I tell you?
Punchy bunch.
Punch a bunch. Yeah, you punch through the paper and you grab what's inside and you pull it out. That's what we're doing, man. You've recreated one of my favorite Price is Right games. Right? And it's the Price is Right. Like, it's on brand for a monetary discussion.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you can get Epic at a discount today. And you too can buy this gold chain so it can hold a store of value. All right. So we're going to go back to this. And I'd like for you to educate us. Oh, shit. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hold on. I totally lost my screens. Bear with me as okay, we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. And here I am trying to get back in my computer saying my password. That's really smart, Todd.
Uncle, I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
I've always known the Cuban link to be a Miami thing. Is it also secondarily a Tampa thing, or do you guys have your own chain?
I
guess it's technically a Cuban thing.
It is a Cuban thing. Miami is the epicenter, but over in Tampa, the cigar people learned that people like to smoke cigars over here. So they came over and they brought all of their Cuban cuisine with them. So
I'm betting Cuban sandwiches in Tampa are pretty lit.
they're great. They're great. Very authentic. Do you know, I was waiting for my car to get done a few weeks ago, and it was in this real kind of shitty area of town. And I'm like,
always where the best restaurants are.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, where can I grab lunch? And they said, well, there's this really authentic Cuban restaurant that's just right around the corner or whatever. And I'll warn you that they don't speak any English. So you're going to have to do a lot of pointing. So I went in there and I just got their Cuban, and I couldn't understand. He was trying to say mini or big, right? And I couldn't understand. So I'm like, oh, big, big. He brings it out. And I never thought I would say this, but it was too authentic. I mean, like, he just butchered the pig in the back.
The entire pig. Just took a pig and put 2 pieces of bread on it.
It was too authentic. But for those of you who appreciate that, I'd rather go to the Columbia, which is a famous restaurant here in Tampa. But
there used to be this Cuban sandwich place in Atlanta, west of Georgia Tech. It was on 10th or 14th Street. And this place was a corner bodega, right? With like like a grocery store filled with 15-year-old canned pork and beans and stuff, just like the worst grocery store in the world. And in the back at lunchtime, they made sandwiches. And my friends warned me, like, you'll walk into this place and you won't think it's a restaurant, because it's not. But get the sandwiches and you'll thank me later. And They had the most amazing sandwiches. And after I'd been a few times, I realized why the grocery store is so bad. It's because they didn't make any money selling groceries. It was just a sandwich place with a defunct grocery store attached.
That's funny.
And the line would like wrap around the grocery store and out and around the block at lunch.
Those are the best.
Those
are really the best. Okay, let's go here, and time to get a little education. Medium of exchange. What help us understand what that is in our quest for superior money.
Yeah, I mean, this is the monetary, to my mind, this is the core of the monetary function, is can you take it to market and exchange it for goods, right? Can you buy bottled water at Walmart with it? Can you go into a bodega in Venezuela and make payment for your goods using this thing and have your payment be accepted, right? And my favorite definition of money is the commodity which finds maximal acceptance for its trade value in the market.
Yeah, that is so crazy that's your favorite definition, because it was mine too. It was like I was literally mouth sinking. If you go back, you'll see my lips moving. Oh, darn it, can't do that because I'm screen sharing.
Right.
Okay, well, let's.
So that's the question. Like, will people accept it for payment? Right.
Okay, so let's see. Will they accept it for payment? I put a check there for Bitcoin. People will accept Bitcoin for payment. Certain kinds of people. And gold, I have a check mark. Pretty sure I got that one right. Federal Reserve notes.
In the face of an economic collapse.
Yeah.
The one today, I don't think this will be true in the future. I think crypto will increasingly displace it. But today, if I had to pick one item to have on my person in the face of an economic collapse, it would be gold coins.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Throughout history and throughout the world, you can always find people willing to trade gold for goods.
Are you also a fan of silver then?
I am.
So just precious metals in general.
Gold and silver especially. I'm less confident in palladium for exchange value.
Yeah.
Right? You might have more difficulty getting palladium accepted. But gold and silver, yeah.
Okay. So I have the Federal Reserve digital credits. I know you've educated us before on the Fed has had these since the 70s, but I don't think I can walk into anywhere and say, hey, will you take my digital?
You can send a Fed wire.
Okay.
Right.
So should we change this?
Well, I mean, have you made payment for anything with a Fed wire in the past 12 months on?
No. Okay, we're going to keep it as an X. Okay, now educate us then on what is a unit of account.
Well, when a business is running its books, how do they account for their economic activity? And with modern accounting technology, this is really kind of trivial because you can run your books in whatever currency you want nowadays. This used to be a bigger deal, but strictly speaking on unit of account. But what I think unit of account historically was referring to more is the mental calculation of prices. And this gets into the psychology of price anchoring, right?
Okay.
So the fact that people express prices externally and internally in a given currency creates sticky prices and creates less price volatility in that currency than you would have in other currencies.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Now, Bitcoin, we have this, but I'm remembering what this guy was saying. He was saying that, none of these have proven to be a medium of exchange.
Well, and I think there's fairness to that criticism.
Yeah.
Because for example, do Epic and Bitcoin have the machinery to be mediums of exchange? They do. And I think Epic's is superior to Bitcoin because it's just later. I mean, just the technology has just advanced.
Yeah.
So the ability is there. How many people do we have accepting Epic for payment for goods and services today? It's not a lot, right?
Not a lot, but
yeah. But then what are we measuring? Are we measuring the technical ability or the actual use of that, right? And what we're trying to innovate. So the fact that we don't have market penetration yet, it does not bother me.
That's correct.
Because that's the nature of the game when it comes to innovation, right? You build something first, and then
that's what just kind of knocked me off my out of my socks. Was this guy, I really felt that he was just talking about Epic Cash, but he just didn't know it, because we're undiscovered. We are not widely accepted. But I bet you if he had as much education on Epic Cash as, dare I say it, any of those who've been watching my show for a year or has been in the Epic Cash community for any period of time, you guys are starting to get it. The only thing between us and mass adoption is, exposure, being discovered. And a guy like this, who apparently lives 2 floors above yoga, yoga's literally going to make it his mission in life to get face to face with this gentleman and speak to him about Epic. And and
this is the thing about the technology and the 17,000 other coins and whatnot, right? Is there are a lot of people in crypto who are trying to make a buck, pump a coin, do all that stuff. We're trying to create superior money, and Mimblewimble is the horse that we're going to ride because it is the clear winner, absolutely the clear winner in monetary innovation. And I think the universe just hasn't awoken to this fact yet, not completely. But it's clearly coming. Right.
But you say that, you say that, Mr. Google, but my AOL tech is, more adopted than yours, said AOL at one point in time.
Yeah. And how could you possibly improve on Internet Explorer, right?
Right.
The market share is there. It's over 90%. It's entrenched. Microsoft has infinite money. right? It's over. The browser wars are over, and Internet Explorer won. And
That's
sure,
right.
it's not a perfect technology. And sure, it might have its shortcomings, but it doesn't matter. Microsoft will continue fixing them. And, the browser wars were fun while they lasted. And this is just our universe now, right?
Plus,
that's just how it is.
Explorer had layers. It's all about layer 2.
But we know this story from having been played out 1,000 times in tech, right? Is when you have an innovation which is better, the incumbents always say the same thing, which is you couldn't possibly overcome our incumbency. It doesn't matter how superior technology is, right?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, every single time. So, when we know Wimble's better. We know it's like monstrously better.
Right.
And that's why it remains so easy for me to remain enthusiastic about it.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go back to this, and I completed the Unity account. I gave an X to the Federal Reserve digital credits for now.
I would give it a check for both.
You would give it a check for both? All right.
Well, I mean, from an accounting point of view, there's no difference in dollars between the digital versus the physical. In fact, accounting is almost always referring to the notional dollars, not the physical dollars.
Okay, that's fair. This is
and medium of exchange, you absolutely can exchange Federal Reserve digital credits. I mean, that's what Google Pay does, basically, right?
So
isn't that what Visa is all about? There's no movement of physical currency when you make a Visa transaction.
That's true. All right. See, we're learning something here today. All right, we're gonna finish
and going back to the point we made earlier. I think it's a really helpful way to think of Federal Reserve notes as being vouchers or coupons for entries into the digital dollar system.
Yes. And we've been the digital dollar system since the 70s, you said?
70s, yeah.
Okay. So, no, that's very helpful to think of it that way. All right, let's talk about store of value. He said no. I said yes. Gold, I gave yes. Fed Reserve, absolutely not, and nor the credits.
That one I'm in agreement on.
Okay, good. So
to say that Bitcoin is not a store of value to me is really pretty funny. And I'll give a specific rebuttal, which is when Julian Assange called out the U.S. federal government in a note of appreciation for locking up all of WikiLeaks US dollar bank accounts in 2012 and forcing WikiLeaks to move to Bitcoin in 2012.
Oh, that's awesome.
Who's the store of value now, bitches?
Oh, with that, I'm going to finish my cold cup of coffee.
Yeah. Don't throw me in that briar patch, Brer Fox.
Well, okay. So we're like seriously kicking some ass here. Let's
what else would you fucking expect from the two of us, man? Shit.
All right, let's have some fun with this. Maybe some that is censorship resistant. This is a big one, right? And I'll go ahead and make my reveal. I have us, yes. Bitcoin, censored. What the hell did I put a check there for? Gold, yes. No, and no. I screwed that up.
I would call Bitcoin a no.
Oh, 100%. I screwed that up. My bad. Censorship resistance. That is a no indeed. Let's talk about why it's a no.
It's not because we don't like Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's just that it's been censored.
And it's not that we don't like Bitcoin people, and it's not that we don't hold Bitcoin. It's that Bitcoin is an earlier generation of cryptocurrencies. And the coins are traded in a public ledger, and everybody can see where the coins came from and where they went to. And we've already seen thousands of tainted coins that you cannot deposit into an exchange, that you cannot trade. No one will touch them. Their value is not equal to the market value of Bitcoin. And it's not hypothetical, right? The hilarious thing is that for years, Bitcoin enthusiasts were like, a lot of them were confused about this. Like, oh, it's crypto, so it must be secret. It's like, no, 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 I don't think you read the white paper. Look, cryptography is a difficult technology, and it takes a lot of work to understand the ins and outs of cryptography. And so I understand where this mistake came from, but a lot of people just like, crypto means secret. It's like,
right.
That crypto means several things, and that secret one is not actually what Bitcoin is, right? And most people have realized this by now, and they just choose to ignore it. And that's fine. If you want a coin which is censorable and public and taintable and non-fungible, then Bitcoin's your coin. Like, go nuts, right?
Well, I love it that how there are these people that are obviously Bitcoin maxis, or they're so vested into it, they can't not be, like a pomp, and so when he's interviewing other people, it's kind of always leading the witness that how great Bitcoin's doing. And despite the retrace and the massive pullback, it's amazing how they always refer to these services like Blockstream, who have made their living going in and surveilling the blockchain. Right? People subscribe to their services to see where the whales are going and what's happening, what's coming on. And so how could they say that it is censorship resistant at all? And many of them do.
The Canada experience, it just happened.
Yeah.
It just happened in Canada, right? You saw federal ministers in Canada hold a press conference.
Yeah.
To get up and brag about doing this.
Yes.
Right?
Now, why could they not do that with Epic Cash, Todd?
Because first of all, there are no wallets. So there aren't identifiable holders. They're just transactions. And second of all, because of Mimblewimble, from the outside, you cannot see any of the quantities. You don't know where the coins are going. Now, users still have to be careful with their transaction pattern to leverage Mimblewimble to create the ambiguity about the origin of the coins. If you have a very simple transaction pattern, you can still analyze the graph. It's still a ledger. Okay, so the system is still doing transactions that you can see, but you can't look into the transaction to know the quantities. Okay, and so Mimblewimble gives you all the things necessary to destroy external understanding about where the coins are. And that's the fundamental difference between Epic and the legacy cryptocurrencies, right? Is when Bitcoin was created, we didn't have the technology for that.
Right.
Not that they were bad engineers. It's not that it's a bad system. It's just old.
And in 2014, when Monero came out, you could say the same thing there, right? They didn't have access to Mimblewimble in 2014 either, right?
Right.
Okay. So Mimblewimble came on the scene when? 2018, 19?
Well, there's a question of like when it came on the scene, right? Because the idea was bopping around and then people were exploring it and then they wrote the paper and then there's the actual implementation.
Okay.
So 2018 or so, yeah.
I don't know why this just hit me when thinking about store of value and Epic Cash, or really you could almost say this about any, you could say this about Bitcoin too, but I mean, you can envision Manhattan, New York City right now, and you can imagine what a building costs on, Fifth Avenue, right? And so if you think about what is a blockchain that has, like we have 21 million coins. So if you think about New York City before, there was a person there and somebody overlaid this ledger that had 21 million all equal plots of land coins that were going to be.
They did this in the 1830s when they built the grid system.
Okay, educate us on that.
The grid system in Manhattan, you've got the avenues, which are north-south, and the streets, which are east-west.
Okay.
Right? So they designed the whole grid, even though the roads hadn't been built yet, but they drew them on the map, right?
Okay, so
and that's why if you look at Manhattan, it looks like a waffle, right? It's got the grid, right?
Yeah.
And all the blocks are square because in the 1830s, they did exactly what you said, right? They carved up the island.
That's fascinating because I'm always trying to think about how to communicate blockchain technology and everything in ways that people can understand. And it's like back then.
And people said things like 72nd Street. Like, can you imagine like New York growing to the size that someone would want to live on 72nd Street?
Right. Right. And if you would have been one of those early adopters who did buy that whole block, around 77th Street, as a store of value over the years, what would your ROI be on that? Half 5 cents that you probably paid for the whole damn thing. I don't know. Right. Anyway, I digress. I was just thinking about store of value and looking at a ledger as just, look, I'm buying a little piece of property on the Epic Cash blockchain when I'm buying a coin. Just, almost thinking of it like that.
Yep.
And I think it's going to appreciate.
And what are the chances? Here's an interesting way to think about it. Is humanity's appreciation of Mimblewimble going to increase from here or decrease? That to me is kind of an easy bet.
Yeah. Well, I would say, of course, because we use Epic Cash, but why do you think the public who doesn't know about it, how are they going to come around to it? What's your explanation to them?
I mean, it's not a psychological question, it's a technical question. Mimblewimble is the superior technology to implement the monetary function for all these reasons that we've been explaining.
Okay.
And there's not even really much debate about that. I've never seen a serious technical rebuttal of Mimblewimble's superiority. I mean, there's like clueless trash talking from people who don't understand the technology and whatnot. But I've never seen a single serious takedown of Mimblewimble, right? Not one.
Well, I think
every single person I know who actually understands Mimblewimble is an enthusiast for it. And the problem is just penetrating popular psychology with it. Okay?
Right.
So it's kind of every time someone learns about Mimblewimble and understands the nature of the breakthrough that it represents, that meter ticks slightly higher, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Uncle, you've met a lot of Epic people and other people who know about Mimblewimble. How many of them do you know who have come to the conclusion that, you know what, like all this talk about what Mimblewimble's supposed to do, I've looked into it, I've understood it, and like it's just not compelling. It's not important.
Zero.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't work. Have you ever heard anyone who understands Mimblewimble say this?
No, I was just looking for Raphael giving his argument on why Mimblewimble sucks, but we've done that before.
I mean, if there is an actual argument to be had, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, no, the argument is it's bullshit technology. It's bullshit, man. Just everyone who wants me to talk about.
Is that the fungibility doesn't work, or the fungibility is not important?
No, it's just bullshit.
Right. Is it that there are alternative fungibility machineries that are superior to Mimblewimble? And if so, which ones are they?
It doesn't matter because it's just bullshit. We already have the best tech.
Exactly.
No,
it's hand wave. It's hand wave.
Yeah,
right.
100%. 100%. That's it.
This is why to me it's such an easy bet. Is we're riding a very strong horse here.
Right. Right. And that's why I love this series, Todd Lewis.
We have a strong horse that none of the other bettors know about.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why I hope yoga is so successful in getting in front of this gentleman who, seems to have a really good grasp. He knows that crypto's the future, but it's elusive to him.
Hey, regardless of like all those individual meetings with whales and whatnot, here's a question for our audience. Send in more questions that we can be answering about Mimblewimble and how it works and what can
great idea.
I'm sorry?
Great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to see more questions from the audience. So, like, what should we be explaining as we continue to go through the
No, that's a great idea. And I do a really, really bad job of keeping track of the chat. So everyone in there, hello. Thank you for your patience on that. And thank you for, I just can't focus on that. I feel guilty when I'm interviewing, talking to somebody.
It's hard to juggle.
Yeah. But what we can do is if somebody wants to tag me in t.me/epic cash, then please do, and just say crypto coffee question.
Yeah, when we get enough questions, we could do an AMA, right? And just go through all the questions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I did ask you what the square root of pi was, and smart ass yoga bear gave the answer.
Little lesson two.
Little lesson two. Oh God. So hold on. Max is here. He just said he wants to join us real quick. So let me do that. And damn, where is I don't want to do screen share. I want to do participants. Let's do invite. Copy invite link.
Major Minor had a fun observation. Gold is the original proof of work. That's completely true, right?
Yes.
Completely true. And this is the rebuttal to the proof of work argument in favor of central bank currencies is, the dollar enthusiasts love to say that the money spent mining Bitcoin or mining gold is wasted. And I'm like, compared to the cost of the US war machine?
Right.
We're not the ones spending $1 trillion a year on our form of money and keeping it globally accepted.
That's funny. Here is Max, and I will.
Morning. You guys were having so much fun. I was listening in. I was like, let me in.
we always have so much.
What's the secret knock, man? Like, you can't come in the clubhouse without the secret knock.
I need to get some coffee. You guys are all warmed up. I'm gonna get some coffee. Fair warning, I am slow. This is early for me. I'm 3 hours behind.
Well, and just fair warning too. This is starting to look like a rag. So I have about a 45-minute drive to the lady who does my haircut. And so I'm going to have to leave in 15 minutes. So we have 15 minutes of fun.
We'll make them count.
Yeah. So Max,
I've got a kid here who needs my attention too. So I'm going to duck out in a few minutes.
Okay, cool. Well, Max, we had a censorship resistant, no, that was my error. Trustless. Todd differed with you because I think we put an.
I said gold is trustless, Max, and you want to disagree with me on that? And if so, why?
I prefer trust minimized rather than trustless. Isn't that better?
The rules of the road here are binary. Like, it's either true or false, right? So.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about trust in the case of gold.
Which I take to be like tungsten coins, right? Like, can you trust that a gold coin is?
Well, okay. I need to trust that someone will not prohibit my ability to transact with gold, right? Like if they make dealing with gold illegal.
No, I mean,
right?
that's true of any commodity. That's going to be true of any currency. That's kind of what's special about gold in that regard?
Well, I mean, in practice, what would you say? 95, 99% of gold is held in non-allocated arrangements, basically paper gold. If you
I would say 0% of gold is held in non-allocated accounts.
Well, any gold that I've ever done is segregated, allocated. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you get actual title to physical gold in a documented place in with a partner you trust. But most people's gold, quote gold, is
but that's not fair, man, because again, you can play similar custody games with any commodity. The entry on the spreadsheet is gold, okay? Like actual metal. That's the topic of conversation.
All right, but remember, when we're talking about fungibility, morning coffee. Hey, this is no fair. You guys are ahead of me. I'm gonna have my coffee, ganging up on me. Two big brains and almost sleepy head. Okay, right. So atomic fungibility. We were talking about gold at the atomic level. How you can melt it down. In practice, if people want to use gold as a wealth protection device or an inflation protection device for wealth storage over time, your market access is what? Going to Scotiabank, JP Morgan, futures contracts, things like this.
Craigslist.
Okay. We need to separate the physical from the financial concept of gold. I think there's a lot of nuance here that's very important that gets glossed over.
I have a content idea. A Max Todd gold cage match.
Dude, check this out. Did I tell you I had dinner with David Morgan a few nights ago?
No, we're on a public thing, man. Like, this is not one of our private calls.
No. He's awesome. He's a Freeman. He just didn't know it.
I love David Morgan too.
Yeah. No, we're gonna I would love to get David Morgan on.
Tell everyone who David Morgan is.
I'm pretty sure David Morgan's on my side on this one, man.
Well, who but David Morgan would know better than to argue with us about stuff like this. So that Silver Report Uncut, David Morgan. He's a legend in precious metals. Great guy. I've been following his work for a long time.
He's the king of silver. Always has been.
Wow.
I've followed him for probably over a decade, and I finally had the pleasure of meeting him for dinner, and a wonderful man. He's in the boat. So yeah, let's talk gold. People need to know this stuff. Precious metals absolutely continue to play a role in people's financial strategy. You need to know how to use all these tools, and we shouldn't be religious about any of them.
But just so we're clear, you're Hulk Hogan and I'm Ric Flair. Okay, I get to be the heel, who's the precious metals enthusiast in the cryptocurrency channel. All right.
I'm the referee, and what I want to do is
you're Vince McMahon.
I want in on this. To end on this is Max. We went through that. The dude who was talking at Davos that Yoga dropped that video in.
Hey guys. Yeah. I'm gonna let you finish up without me.
All right, man.
I gotta run. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Todd.
We'll see you next week.
Buddy.
All right. And everyone, next week probably means 10 o'clock Eastern time again, because he will remain in Arizona, I think, for a few more weeks. So this might be our new time slot. So Max, it was really interesting when we were hearing this guy in Davos. We began the show with it. And when we go to our chart, he made the comment that kind of blew me away. He was talking about Bitcoin, and he was educating us that currency has to have three things: store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. And he said Bitcoin has none of those. That blew me away.
Okay. All right. So if you pull up the original Epic Cash physical white paper. I've got the document here in front of me. I'm looking at it. It says Epic Cash, store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account.
Can you share that on the screen?
Yeah. Let me go upstairs and I'll grab it.
No worries. We can nail it. We can nail it another time. But
yeah, I mean, just this is fundamental, you know, and all this nonsense about dog tokens and confusion about what's going on. Like at a fundamental level, basically, what we need to do is money and currency needs to serve three purposes: store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account. And so because one side with two coins, Epic and EUSD, it all resolves to the same ledger, we found a way to put all of the world's money onto a single system. We really have thought this through.
Yeah, and I mean, that's so next level for most of us to be able to think in terms of that. But what I'm more interested in is medium of exchange, unit of account, and store of value. Why this gentleman would have said Bitcoin doesn't have those three qualities.
Why he would say that it doesn't have those qualities?
Yeah, because he was just basically what he was saying is, you know, there's a coin out there. It's just undiscovered. There's tech out there. This is going to get better. And it's like Todd made the good point. It's kind of like back in the, you know, .com era. If, you know, it's like you could compare. Oh, okay. I see you're coming in, so you might be able to share. Let me find my mouse again. There we go. It's like if AOL would have just said, guys, it's game over. I'm getting a little feedback.
Yep. Okay.
So it's AOL, it's game over. You know, Microsoft Explorer, it's game over. I know there's others who, you know, think you might be able to unseat us, but good luck. And so we're thinking that there had to be AOL maxis out there. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, MySpace and Prince for forever.
Oops, you are double miking.
Let me solve that.
Sure. And I have maybe 7 minutes.
Is that better?
I see. Yeah, but I don't see the white paper anymore. I just see.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, great.
Yep, that's better.
Yep.
All right, we have 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is it. Store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account. From the very beginning, we were focused on this.
Okay, there you go. You know, Yoga, probably a good idea to get this guy, you know, a link to the white paper and say, I mean, seriously, I think he is probably the guy that we saw being interviewed is, I respect the hell out of him because, you know, he's really thought this through.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, this is why we built this, and I'm fine. I'm glad that serious people are finally taking us seriously. We have been unable to get their attention for many years. We've been quietly building. The technology is here to serve all of these needs. You know, thank you. You're welcome. We've been working on this a long time. Now that you know you need it.
I mean, this is literally the white paper that was written and was published. So you're not okay. So you're not coming to January 2022 and saying, okay, everybody's talking about medium of exchange a lot. And I like how they're combining store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange. Let me go edit the paper. No, it's not how these things works.
From the very beginning, I posted the first draft of the EUSD white paper for public consideration and input that started this journey December 2018. And we've been snowballing all this time.
That's amazing.
It's all coming together.
It is all coming together, and it's coming together when Uncle V starts sporting his 25-pound gold chain around his neck. Yeah, no. Okay, Max, thanks for coming in. Next round, maybe come in a little earlier. That'd be.
I didn't know you were doing it. Let's schedule it now that Todd's on the same time zone. I get up early too. We can definitely knock it out. This is great. We got a lot to talk about.
Perfect. All right. Hey, everyone in the chat, thank you. I really do appreciate you. Give it a thumbs up if you haven't. I haven't. So I'm just going to take that to 21 for now, and smash the like button and let others know that this channel exists. And by the way, this is going to be posted along with Max's from last week. I have created a series, a YouTube, what do they call it, a series or whatever, but it's Crypto Coffee with Todd Lewis. So somebody who you might want to introduce Epic Cash to, you may want to send them a link to that series and just say, hey, just start at the top. Because really, by the time we're done with this series, people who don't know anything about crypto will know a lot about crypto. And I think this will persuade a lot of people to even people who hold other coins to perhaps take us way more seriously, because we are the solution that gentleman that we saw interviewed at the beginning was speaking about. He just doesn't know it yet. And guys and gals, the only difference, the thing between us and $100,000 a coin is just widespread exposure. And we're working on that too. We have this new to the street initiative that's been funded.
Actually, let me screen share real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, sure.
Batuhan is doing amazing. Have you guys have you tuned into what Batuhan's doing?
No.
Oh my God. So Batuhan's Turkey road trip. Hold on, let me screen share.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to mess it up, but Batuhan's doing great. I'm talking to him offline right now. We'll figure all this out. Mass adoption is coming. It's simply, you need awareness, you need consideration, you need the ability for people to use it. All of these pieces of the puzzle that have been missing are slowly slotting into place and coming in at once. So we really are here. It's a special time. If you're not on and in, what are you waiting for? Our time is now. Love you, everybody.
I think a lot of people are waiting for it to get to $10, and then they'll jump in, because then they'll know that there's momentum, and that is what just boggles my mind. Right now,
isn't it ironic? You and I talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
And there's this. It's unfortunate that there's a psychological defect. I hate to even call it that, but it's almost like a training process where our minds have been propagandized to understand finances in a way that's adverse to our interests. And here, what's happening, at least to me and to you, and to people who see, is so clear. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. Is it likely to be cheaper in the future, I guess, is the question.
Yeah. People are bragging about buying Epic Cash at under $10, guys. It's, what is it, $1.50?
Well, here's the thing. It gets so complicated, it gets so complicated for people to understand, crypto and blockchains and paradigm shifts and all that. But fundamentally, like, if you walked into a computer store and you saw a CD-ROM for $30,000 and you saw an upgradable Blu-ray for $1, you'd be like, same song, 21 million. I want the dollar.
Yeah. All right.
It's faster.
I gotta run, or she's gonna cancel me, and I'll still have.
Okay.